Right, so in this masterclass, we're going to talk about domains, hosting, and WordPress. So I'm going to explain what each one is as I go along. But first of all, we're going to start with domains. So domain is the actual name of your website. So for example, if I type in website Wonder Woman, you will see that website wonderwoman.com is my domain name. So a domain name on its own doesn't really do much. All it is a name. So lots of people think that they can just buy a domain name and that means they've got a website. All it does is it is just that one thing. It is just a name. So say if you had a shop and you had a sign at the top saying the name of your shop, that would just be the domain name. It's just a name like your business name, but it's something that you own, and you can use that then on the internet to tell people what the name of your business is. So hosting then is your rental space of the internet. So going back to the shop example, the hosting is the rental of the shop. So the space you've got in that shop, but on the internet, to put all your website files. So you use companies and you'd pay them monthly or yearly normally, and that is your rental space on the internet for your website to be kept. So the website domain and the hosting need to be linked together. You can usually buy them from the same company. I use a company called Penguin Internet in Cardiff. I'll tell you why now when we go into the hosting bit in a bit more detail. But then through your hosting, you can install WordPress, and lots of people have heard of WordPress. Not so many people are aware that there's two different versions of WordPress. So there's WordPress.com, which is the free version, as they say, which is very much like Wix. It's very basic. You can do certain things. It is getting developed more. So, but if you want to do anything more than basic, you have to pay. So it's not actually free. It's like with Wix, you can have a free website, but if you want to use your domain name or you want to customize this or you want to do that, you end up paying £100, £200 a year for doing that. The WordPress that we use is wordpress.org, which is entirely free because it's open source software. So all you need is a domain name and hosting, and then you can install WordPress on the hosting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually show you the process of creating a website, so how to install WordPress, starting from buying a domain name. So I use, when I used mine, I used GoDaddy, but like I said, with Penguin Internet, if I share my screen, you can go on their website. So it is penguin-uk.com, and they offer hosting and domain names. If you've already got a domain name, you can have hosting elsewhere, or you can have hosting in the same place. I tend to find that with hosting companies, the larger hosting companies like 123reg, Bluehost, GoDaddy, sometimes their support is really good, but generally their support is shocking. Because you're just speaking to somebody on a chat, you don't get to speak to somebody on the phone. Well, if you can get hold of them, you can. But they tend to like say everything is not their fault, and you never get to the root of the problem. So I tend to use smaller companies, and I like to support local businesses anyway, only because I find that the support level is totally different to what it is for a larger company. So you get to speak to the same person on the phone. You know, they know your website, and it's so much better than just a completely faceless company. And I found that doing it that way is much more beneficial to you and your website and your business. So if we start with domain names, you can literally just click domain names, and where is it? Not that one. It is domain names, domain pricing. So we've got like the domain pricing here. So there's a list of all the different pricing. You can order services here. So you've got register a new domain. And then you can type in your domain name. So for example, like I said, mine is websitewonderwoman.com. You can see the prices down the bottom then as well. People ask me what's the difference between .com, .co.uk and all the other extensions, such as we've got your org.uk, me.uk, all these different ones, .info for example. The difference being is that if your website, if your business can offer services worldwide, I would always recommend .com because .co.uk doesn't get shown in search engines other than google.co.uk. It does sometimes if the website is really popular, but generally it will only, oh, Sarah's here, distracted me now, it will only show in the UK. So if your business is worldwide, you're going to really struggle getting clients outside of the UK to look at your website unless you share your website with them, because it won't tend to be found in Google. Hey, Sarah. So with .me, .org. .org is generally for third sector, is that what it's called, organisation, so charities. So all charity organisations. So it's generally non-profit type things that use the .org. So I know that lots of people come to me and they say, oh, we bought .org because there's nothing else available. But in the business industry, .org is seen as a non-profit, so you do need to be aware of that. Things like .info, .biz, all that type of stuff. Yes, you can use them if yours is not available, but what I would say is be really careful who has the .com and who has the .co.uk, because you could be breaching their intellectual property. So for example, if there was another website designer and they had website wonderwoman.info, they are using my intellectual property, and if they were doing the same thing, I could put in a claim against them and have their business shut down. They'd have to stop using that name, even if it's quite similar. So I had this happen to me before. One of my first websites, it was 2 words different to somebody else's, but they bought the domain name before me, but they didn't start the website until after I did. But we had this big thing that, and she done different stuff to me as well, but she didn't like it because I was above her in Google. And in the end, because she actually bought her domain name before me, they said, I took advice and they said that I'd have to take the website down. So you do need to be really, really careful. Just because .com and .co.uk is not available, you can't just buy .info and use the same name. Just even though it's not trademarked, it's intellectual property because it's on the internet. So people do have rights to it. So you need to be really, really careful in stuff like that. Check that it's not trademarked. Check what the other people do. I know I had someone come to me before, and she was a lawyer type person, but that copyright now wasn't her expertise. And she asked me, and it was like 1 word different to another lawyer's website, and I was like, oh, they probably, and especially with lawyers, they know what they're doing, don't they? So they were like, oh right, okay, we're not even going to bother, because she said she doesn't want to get 4 years down the line and then they are ranking better than them in Google and they're going to say, look, you need to take your website down. So you do need to be really careful about stuff like that, because people don't realise, they just buy what's available, and don't realise there is such a thing as like intellectual property. So you do need to be careful about that. But once you've purchased your domain name, you just need to type it in, see what's available. Like I said, you might need to get a little bit creative if the domain name that you want isn't there. And it could be that even if your business name isn't there, you could do something else. So for example, B&Co, they are not B&Co.com, they're DIY.com. So they are just saying what they do. So if your business name is not available, it could be something else that you could use instead of your business name. Just, you know, that just saying, like the website I done before was about girls' party ideas. So I just add like party ideas in the title. So then you know then that people know what you do. So you do have to get a little bit creative sometimes, especially if you have been going a while and you're actually set on that business name. Once you've got hosting, you can buy, once you've got a domain name, sorry, you can buy hosting. So there's different hosting here, as you can see. You've got starter, business, business plus, professional, let me admit Wendy, enterprise. The difference being is that the starter one is probably just for somebody who wants a blog. That's all it's going to cover. You need at least 2 gig of web space, and if they've got a business one, that's always better. Because on here, look, you can see they've got an SSL certificate, which is a security certificate. So see this little lock here? That's what you need on your website. If you don't have a security certificate, you will see that it says not secure. And when they try and fill in forms and stuff like that, it's usually on Google Chrome, it'll come up, this site's not secure, which kind of freaks some people out, and they don't want to share their information on there because your website's not secure. They've spoken about it for a while, but Google have said that they will stop listing sites that are not secure. So it is something that's non-negotiable and you do need to have for your business. If you've got an account, a hosting account with Google, GoDaddy, 123Reg, etc., they will charge you extra. Most of their accounts charge you extra for an SSL certificate. You're looking at least £50 extra a year on top of your hosting price. Whereas these ones have it in with the same hosting. It's all in one price. That's the words I was looking for. So where it says 2 gig of web space, so that's how big your website is. So most websites are around 1 gig. I think mine at the moment is about 8, and the reason for that is because I've got online courses, I've got a shop. If you've got a shop, you're probably looking for at least 5 gig of web space, or disk quota, sometimes they call it. Sometimes they call it disk space, not dick space. But yeah, so you're looking about, you know, at least 2 to 5. 2 would be the lowest I would go, especially if you've got emails with your hosting. Because I know lots of people on my reseller hosting have about 2 gig of just emails because they don't delete them. I know the other day that I pay for G Suite and they said to me that I've got too many emails. So I had to delete loads because you only get a set amount for your emails. So when you're saving everything, or just, you know, delete, just putting everything in your inbox, when you've got like a lady in my group, she's got like 34,000 emails or something, or 3,400 emails, and she's like, I can't show you. And I was like, I get serious email anxiety, so things like that freak me out. But you are taking up disk space then, and you do need to be aware of that. It's not just your website, it would be your emails as well. And if your emails go over your disk space, they'll knock your website off. So you do need to be aware of that type of thing as well. Oh, right, okay, just seeing what Wendy wrote, she has to go. That's fine. So I would recommend the business one on here. Like I said, there's so many different hosting. I could go through all of them, but I'm just going to show you this one because this is the one that I use. Make sure it's got an SSL certificate. Spam filtering is always really good as well, because that's the amount of spam out there at the moment, especially for emails and contact forms and things. So spam filtering will get rid of some of that as well. So when you buy from the same person, you won't have to change anything. They will just automatically connect together. If you buy from a different companies, so for example, my domains are with GoDaddy, just because when I bought them, many moons ago. I don't even know when I bought them, about 6-7 years ago. I just use GoDaddy, and just all my domains are there. So what that means is I need to go into GoDaddy then, and I need to point my domains to the hosting so they can talk to each other. So what that is called is name servers. So if I, 2 seconds, let me get my GoDaddy account up and I'll see what you mean. I have to take it off the screen a minute because I could be signed into anybody's GoDaddy account. I don't mind you looking at mine though. Yeah, I think that's mine. Maybe. I'm sure that's mine. I was thinking about it. Lisa, that's a good start. Lisa's a good start. Right, I'll put it back there. So in GoDaddy, these are the domains that I have. So when you can go into them then, you can see manage DNS. So when you sign up for hosting for a different company, they'll send you an email. I was thinking then that's not my name servers, but that points somewhere else. I was like, what? They'll send you an email and they'll tell you what the name servers need to be. This is different depending on who you've bought your domain with, but it's usually under DNS management or DNS or name servers. And all you need to do is where the default name servers are, you just click change and then you just type in. I need to change mine to someone else now. Just not make sure I don't save anything now. You just literally type in there whatever it is your new hosting company tells you to type in, and it usually starts with NS1 and NS2. Sometimes you get an NS3, but they will give you details and they will help you through this so that you've got it all set up. So when you have got a domain name and hosting, what you need to do then is install WordPress. So I transferred my spare website into Penguin yesterday to show you how to install WordPress from scratch. So I connected this last night. So if I go to my cPanel, so when you sign up for hosting, they'll give you a cPanel, which looks a little bit like this. If you're with GoDaddy, I think theirs is a little bit different because they don't use cPanel. I don't think Bluehost use cPanel either. There's a fit. Oh, I don't think. I'm not sure if SiteGround do it. I think 123reg do it, but it may be a little bit different. But you'd still have the same features. So what you can do from here, you can create an email account. So if we just click email accounts and then create, and you can literally just create an email account. Just by putting in a username and password, and then that creates an email account. I have this massive bugbear about domain emails and people who say I've got a professional email and it's their business name at Gmail, at Hotmail, that type of thing. And Sarah will tell you, if you use MailerLite, you have to have a domain email because that's what verifies your address. And what I think is when people say, oh, this is my professional email address, and it's just their business name at gmail.com, I say, that's a personal email. And you will come up against different challenges when you're using a personal email address for business. And I always think when someone sends me an email or they give me that email address, I always think they're just starting out in business. And even if they might be around for years, but I think if they can't even be bothered to do something as basic as set up email address, they must be in the very early stages of their business. So it does, and like using things like MailerLite and stuff like that, and things that you need in your business, you do need a professional email address, which is something. So Lisa at website wonderwoman.com, for example. This one's DIY website successacademy.com. That's a mouthful, that's why I don't use this email address. But yeah, all email systems do require a domain email. So if you want to do things like sending out newsletters, all that type of stuff, you will need a domain email. And it's usually included freeware hosting. So there's absolutely no excuse not to get one. You've just seen how easy it is for me to set it up. You can check your email in your hosting, but I normally connect, if you click connect devices, it will give you the settings that so you can set it up in Outlook, Mail, set it up on your phone, all that type of stuff. And so for example, on an iPhone, if you go, I think it's like accounts or something in settings, you can go to accounts and then add an email account, and it's usually other, because they'll give you loads of different options such as like Exchange, Gmail, Hotmail. If you click other, I don't know what it is, you've got an Android phone, I'm going to say, is it still other on there? I know on Mac and iPhone it is, but I'm not sure if you've got an Android phone. And then they'd ask you for these settings, and then that would set your email up on your phone or in Outlook. I think on Outlook is still other or something like that. But it's usually the bottom one, because it's not Gmail or any of those type of things. So if I go back to the beginning of the cPanel, my watch is, people keep texting and ringing me and my watch is constantly vibrating. I'm just like, leave me alone. So in this cPanel here, you'll see it that the domain certificate, because I only set this up last night, it hasn't been assigned yet. So I can click on the little spanner thing there, and I can click Run Auto SSL, and that will give me then my free SSL certificate, which will protect my website. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because whenever I show people how to do things, things go wrong. So hopefully that will. I've got Facebook open somewhere, have I? I can hear it beeping all the time. Yeah, this does take a while. So whilst that's installing, I'll explain a little bit more about WordPress and why I use WordPress. So I mentioned earlier that there's two different types of WordPress, but what WordPress is a content management system. So what that means is that it manages your content on the internet. So you put your text and images, etc., and then it does its stuff and shows that on your website. WordPress itself is just a system we use. We install it on our hosting. So we install the files on our hosting. Most hosting have the one-click install. See, it hasn't worked. I'm trying to think now. Did I actually send this year? Wait a minute. I done this last night, see, about 9 o'clock, because I thought, oh, right, I need to point that there. Usually if it doesn't give you one, it's because your domain isn't connected. So if we click that, let me just check that I've done it. Manage DNS. Technology is so much fun. I did do it. All right. We'll just leave it for now. It should give you a certificate anyway. So it's a content management system. So all it does is put your content on the internet. In the early days of WordPress, that it used to just it used to be quite boring. So it'd just be text and images, just like a word processor type thing. But now you've got so many themes and builders, and WordPress itself even has its own block builder now. I can never say the name of it. It's like Gutenberg, don't know. But I can never say the names of things. That's why people like me though, because I don't even know the techie terms. I know what they are, but I can't say them. But yeah, so you have themes then, and so you can create how it looks, all that type of stuff. The reason I use WordPress over things like Wix, Squarespace, all them type of things, is that I've used lots of them in the past, and I've always hit a roadblock of something that I can't do it or can't add to it. When I first looked at WordPress, everyone was going on, oh, WordPress, and I thought, oh, it looks really, really complicated. But once I got shown how to use it, it was one of the easiest systems that I used out of all of them. And I've created and worked on over 500 websites in the last 6 years, and there's never been anything that I can't do on WordPress. But then I get so many people coming to me who use other systems saying, I was using so and so, but you can't do this or you can't do that. So you have to start from scratch then. Obviously, if you just want a basic website, and you can have shops and things like that, but it's all quite basic. Wix is really good for just having something nice and fancy and pretty to look at. But if you want functionality, that's why we use WordPress. Because like I said, it does everything. There's plugins for everything. So you might hear the word plugins. What plugins are just little bits of functionality that you can add to your website, because WordPress is very, very basic on its own. But then, you know, when like Apple, they say an app for everything, there is literally a plugin for everything. Some are free and some are paid. But if we scroll down, most hosts now have a one-click WordPress install. So I can just click WordPress. And I'm hoping this will work now because it won't give me an SSL. So I've done something somewhere. So if we click install now, and at the top here it says your installation URL. Some hosts put WP here. I delete that just because you don't want your website to be WP DIY websitesuccessacademy.com/WP, because nobody's going to put that WP part in. Usually it's a bit of a redirect if you put it in there, but I just delete that bit because it's a lot easier. It's just making it easier for yourself. So then you've got site name. So then you can just put your name of your business. Then you've got site description, and this is where that tagline we were talking about the other day, that one sentence, what you do. So if we just try teaching women WordPress, and those are for SEO purposes as well, so make sure you fill both of them in, because that is what Google will pick up. This bit here often gets overlooked by people, and then they say to me, oh, I can't get in my WordPress, I don't know what the password is. And that's because they've totally ignored this bit that actually sets the password. And because it says the admin email, they just generally put admin before your website address. They don't even know what the email is or anything. So this bit is really, really important. So your admin username, do not use admin, because admin is the most hacked username, because everyone uses admin because that's the default one. So I highly recommend you don't use admin. You can use things like your name. Like I generally use my email address, just because I've got so many, because I'm admin on so many different websites. Their name could be Lisa as well, so I don't tend to use Lisa. Sometimes I use Lisa admin or something like that, to just get a little bit more creative. But what I would say about your username is, if you're writing blog posts, when your blog posts are published, it'll say author's name, and it'll say either the username, or you can set it to show your full name. So putting something random there and you haven't changed it then to show your full name, that will appear on your website. So don't put anything, you know, too out there. So we're just going to put Lisa for now. If you use a capital letter, you do need to use a capital letter when you log in. If I type in my password, and then we're just going to put my email in here because I haven't got no emails. Oh, actually, I did just set it up, didn't I? You can put my email in. Lisa website 112 DIY website. That's way too much of a mouthful. That's why I've dropped the DIY as well. It's too long. You can install things like limit log in attempts, the classic editor and stuff, but I just generally go straight to install and just click install, and then just let it do its stuff. So once it's installed, it'll give you your URL, and that's the name of your login for your website. So the cPanel, you just use that to set up your emails, set up the SSL, and install WordPress, and then you probably won't need it again until something goes wrong. If your WordPress website goes down, then we always need hosting access to be able to fix it, because we go straight to the files to fix the behind the scenes of WordPress, if that makes sense. But you will log into your website now using this URL they give you here, which is usually your website name /wp-admin. So it's always the same unless you change it. You can get plugins that change the name of your login. The reason being is some people, because everybody's website is wp-admin, for security reasons, a lot of people do change the name of that, so hackers can't even find where you are supposed to log in. You can just click that. See, I knew it weren't going to work. If something is not right because it's not going to the right place. DS1 web-dns.net. And I'd done this yesterday, but what we will do is we'll be like, right, here's one I made earlier. Actually, I'm trying to think of one that I've got that's got nothing on it at all. Give me 2 seconds. If anybody's got any questions that they can think of at the moment, just put it in the chat. I should have checked this last night, but I was in such a rush. I have got other domains we can look at. So just give me 2 seconds and I shall find another one. I know, we'll use this one. Good job I got all these domain names now. I thought it weren't connected, right, because it won't give me an SSL. So this is WordPress itself. This is just one of my test sites. So this is one that I just use to set things up on, just to show people stuff. When you first install WordPress, you won't have all of these items. You'll only have some of them, because you can see that these are things that I've added, such as Studio Cart, Seed Prod, which is coming soon, all these type of things. But this is the back end of WordPress, and this is what we call the dashboard, and this is what you're going to be using to create your website. So you're going to start here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a quick overview of WordPress, and then you can ask questions. So literally this is this easy today. It's nice and simple today. It's just following along and doing all the bits to get to this point. So where you've got dashboard, you've got home. Secondly, you've got updates. So WordPress does need to be updated. I tend to update my website twice a month. You'll probably get updates every single day, especially if you've got lots of different plugins. And they can be security updates, feature updates. They're all being updated all the time. Security updates often, because hackers find ways around to get into things all the time. So you do need to keep your website up to date. When people come to me and say that, and say, oh, so-and-so's wrong with my website, or there's a glitch in my website, and we know the first thing when we go on their website, we're going to see like hundreds of updates, because they haven't updated their site for months, and then their site stops working properly. So it is something that you need to do at least once or twice a month. So if you just click update, and then what you can do, I'll show you this, and then I turn all the plugins off so I can show you what it's like when it's first on. But you literally just click select all and then update plugins, and then it just does this thing. So it'll update then all the plugins for you. I'm really thirsty today. The more I talk, the drier my mouth is getting. So it does take a while. It takes a couple of minutes to do the updates. So you've got WordPress update, which is the WordPress management system as a whole. They don't come out that often. Plugin updates are usually, there's usually ones every other day. But you can see you've got plugins and you've got themes as well. And I'll go into more about what each of them are. But it is literally just click and update all and then update. Some people get really stressed and worried about updating their website. Because when it comes to plugins, plugins are not created by WordPress. WordPress just create this content management system, and the themes and the plugins are all made by other developers. So you get massive developers such as WooCommerce, for example, who create plugins. So that's like an e-commerce shop to your website. Who obviously test with other plugins that are quite big, but then you've got like people that are just, you know, in their house creating plugins. They normally test them against the bigger plugins, but there's so many different people, anyone can make a plugin. It does need to be verified by WordPress to go on their website. But there's so many different plugins that you can't test all of them. So sometimes if you update one, another one will go wrong and the website will go down. And that's when we use the hosting then to switch the plugins off and then delete that one plugin or turn that one plugin off and stuff like that. But generally it's fine. Just click, you know, and if things do go wrong, you can shout out to people like me and it's easily fixed. So that's updates. If I turn all these plugins off, so you can just see what it looks like normally then. And I'll explain now when we look at different plugins and stuff now as well. Right, so this is what it looks like generally when you've got everything off. I have got the Divi theme installed and I'll go over that now as well. But then you've got posts. So what posts are blog posts. So blog posts automatically then get posted onto a blog feed or feed page. So, you know, when you post on social media, all your posts go on one big feed. That's exactly the same as posts on here. And it is as easy as just clicking add now. And then you add the title, so whatever it is you want to add there. I just generally use the default editor for blogs. So then type in your content. And then you get this little plus all the time. So you can add blocks. So you can add an image, for example. I don't know if there's an image on here. We can click media library. So you can upload files. Or you can go to media library, and these are all ones that you've already uploaded. So we'll go with that one. So you can add a caption then if you want. You can add things like headings. This is a heading. So you can build your blog post up, and you can see when I click on different things, this bit at the side changes. See? So you can change things on the side. So that's like the customization options of the different bits that you write in. If I click post, this is the options for the whole post. So you can see here you can add categories. If you are going to have lots of blog posts, I would suggest categories. So you just click add new category. If we just type in new category. I'm so full of creativity today. This is a heading, new category. Then you can have that ticked and categorized. They would all come up under one thing. But if you want them easier to find, like you could have, like for example, emails, websites, tutorials, case studies, all that type of thing. What I would suggest on all posts and pages, you set a featured image. This would be the image that's shown on social media when you share that page or post. And it'll also, what it will show up on the blog page as well. So if you look at my website, if you look at my website, if we go to tutorials, you can see that that's the image that shows on the blog page above the post as well. So all you need to do then is click publish. And then you can just go back then to the main dashboard. You can set categories here. So if you've got quite a few categories, you can click categories and you can set them up ready for when you add blog posts. Media, if we click media, so that's uploading things. So you can upload images, you can upload files, PDFs, If you want to use PDF so people can download them, I don't think I've got one by here. But what you can do, you just upload it, and when you click on the PDF, I know that's an image, but where it says file URL, you can copy that URL and then you can use that so people can view your PDF. So you could share that on social media so they can see your PDF instead of sharing the PDF itself. Or you can use that on a button as a button link. So when people click a button, they can download then your PDF. What I would say, if you're using it as a link on your website, on a button or a text link, always open it in a new tab, because once they've read the PDF and close off it, they will close your website as well if it opens over your website. So that's just something to be aware of. Pages, much the same as posts, but pages are static. So you can add new, and they look quite similar when you add new. So it looks quite similar. Here you add the title, you've got the featured image. Posts. Pages don't have categories. So they're just things that are static on your website. So like home, about, services, blog, that type of thing. So if you go back, comments. So if you've got a blog posts, if you've got a blog and posts, you will probably have comments. Comments are mine and Sarah's favourite thing at the moment because they're just overly spammed. But yeah, you can go comments and you can manage the comments here, so you can approve them, mark them as spam and that type of thing. Projects is very similar to posts. So projects go on a feed, and so you can use these for things like case studies. So they're very similar to posts, but they just go in a different feed. They go in a portfolio feed rather than a blog feed. So you can use them as, like, if you've got a few case studies, you can arrange that then in a feed, much the same as blog posts. They're exactly the same to create as the posts. Appearance. So appearance, we've got themes. So as I mentioned, when you first install it, if I go to themes and switch the Divi theme off, you usually get, so it's 2021 now. So if I visit the site, I'll open it in a new tab. It's because I've done that page, haven't I? You usually get just that. So without the code, because I've used a builder, so it's just used the code on there. But you can see now, if I switch this theme to the builder, so I use Divi, if I, she looks like that, which is a lot nicer. So this is a template that we use for Studio Cart, for sales pages and things like that. And you can see I've got different templates on here as well. But we use Divi so we can have more control over how it looks. So Divi is actually a paid theme. If you go to elegantthemes.com, it is, I think it's about $80 a year and $250 lifetime. If you do anything with me, so if you do a course for me or I create your website, you always get a license to Divi. So if you are thinking of working with me, don't buy a license because it'll be included. But you can go on their website and you can go to the live builder demo and you can have a play about with it. So it'll load now. And it's a visual builder, so that's what a lot of people like. You can take a tour or you can start building, but it is as easy as if you wanted to change some text when it decides to load. Oh. It is as easy as, like, change this text. My content creativity is through the roof today. Change this text. Every time you hover over something, you get this grey box. So you can go into the settings, then you can download PDF, for example. And then that's the link where I told you you could put in to download the PDF. And then you can open it in a new tab. You can change images. And it's all really easy to use. So for example, you can even move stuff. So you could move that there. You can move that there. And Elementor is quite similar as well in how that is used. So it's a lot of people use that as well. I just always use Divi. It's just what I specialise in, and I do find it a lot easier than Elementor. But then people that use Elementor find that easier than Divi. So you do need to figure out which one is best for you. But I just find this is really, really visual. Everything you do is really, really visual, and I'm more of a visual person, so it's a lot easier for me. But there are, if we go to themes, there are loads of themes that you can have. If you click add new, you've got all free themes here, such as Astra if you use an Elementor. If we go down, there's loads of different ones that you can use. What happens is, if you just use a theme, such as this one, for example, you're usually stuck with that layout. When you use builders, such as Divi and Elementor, you can create your own layout, which is far better than, you know, just sticking to one layout. Because I know I was speaking to Elizabeth before everyone else jumped on, and she doesn't know the direction of her business yet. And I know that when I first started in my business, I'd buy a theme for people and then they change their mind because their business has gone in a different direction. So we have to buy a different theme. So you can change colours and branding and stuff. But it's when you use a builder, that's when you have a lot more control about how all the things look. And most people use a builder these days anyway. You've got customize, and this will be different depending on what theme you have active. So those settings will be different. So you've got like the general settings. You can put CSS if you want to do some coding. I know you all want to do coding. Most people don't need it, but those are like the customization theme options. Depending on your theme, you may have a theme options setting somewhere as well. Widgets are things that go on the sidebar or on the footer. So if I click that, you can see they're on the sidebar at the moment. There's recent posts, recent comments, and you can add things such as, we just type in posts. So you can have latest posts, for example. I've called it recent post there. Then you've got footer areas, so you can have menus in the footer, so like your privacy policy, all that type of stuff. You can do that with widgets. Menus is your menu at the top of the page here. So when you first install it, every page that you add will be added here in no particular order. If you create a new menu, and then you can call it primary or whatever you want. I'll cancel that because I've already got a menu. What you can do then, the pages that you've added, so we can add the blog page, for example, and add that menu. And then you can drag them about where you want to put them. If you want them as a drop down, you just put them to the side a bit, and then that would be a drop down of that page. So we'll leave that there. Then click Save Menu. Background I don't really use. Theme editor is if you want to do coding, which I know you all don't. So then we come to plugins. So where I said there's a plugin for everything, when you click add new, you will get thousands of plugins. They all do loads of different things. You've got like spam protection, health check, all that type of stuff. I generally use the same plugins on every website. If you go to my blog, I do have a blog about it, best WordPress plugins. I have a list of which plugins I use and why. So you can go through it and you can see, so I use things like security plugins, caching plugins, which make your website faster. You've got SEO plugins, backup plugins, image compression, coming soon pages if you want coming soon. Really simple SSL I use. So what that is even if you have an SSL certificate, if someone types in HTTP in the top instead of HTTPS, they will go to the unsecure version. So what that does is make sure that they always go to the secure version. We've got like Google Analytics, Forms, the cookie bar that comes at the bottom, which as I mentioned in my email yesterday, is EU legislation, so you all need it, currently anyway. So those are the type of plugins that I use. If I go back, I don't know which one we're on now. Right, if we go back to installed plugins, you can see that I've got like Elementor on here. What else we've got? Oh, we've got Studio Cart, which is a cart plugin. Where's it gone? There. So that does like checkout pages and all that type of stuff. But it is literally, if you add new, and then you can just type in like backup, for example, and it will give you like all the different backup plugins. And then you can install whichever one you want. It's just like install now and activate, and then it usually gets added to the menu bar on the side. So remember at the beginning when we had loads of different things on the menu, that's because plugins were active. So you've got a plugin editor, which generally I say to people don't touch, because that's editing the code of the plugins. So you wouldn't need to touch that. Users, so that's if you've got users on your website. So I know that 2 of you are VAs, so if you've got a VA, then you can add them to your website. Just click add new. They can have a username and their email, and then you would just change them to administrator if you want them to make changes on your website, and then add new user. It automatically generates them a password, but it'll send them an email if you've got this ticked, and they can set their own login, so they set their own password. So you don't really have to set them up a password. You'll generate one, but they'll set their own. If you go to tools, so you've got import and export. So if you've got a wordpress.com site, for example, I think it's like Blogger, there's quite a few different things. If I click import, I think it comes up. Tumblr, Blogger, if you've got a website with them, you can import it into WordPress and you can still use it. All your content can be installed on your, and you can export your site as well if you want to put it in one of these other places. You've got site health as well, which tells you how good your website is. If it's feeling okay, you know, unless it's a bit ill, it'll tell you. So it tells me I should remove inactive plugins because I've switched them all off. But it may come up different things on your website does not use HTTPS because I just turned the plugin off. But yeah, export personal data, erase personal data, and that's like if you're keeping stuff on your website, like user data, and they're no longer on there, you delete them, you can erase them there. Settings, so you've got general settings, so your site title, your tagline, in here, that should be HTTPS, that's why it's coming up. Your administration email address, so what that is that if something happens on your website and it goes down, they will send you an email to this email address. So it needs to be one that you own and that you can access. When I create a website, obviously I set it up using my own email. And then I say to people, I change it to theirs and they have to accept it. And the reason being is because I want them to have access. If something goes wrong, it can tell them what's wrong. Also, when you have contact forms and install stuff like WooCommerce, all the emails will go to the admin email address. So do make sure that's yours, especially if you've already got a website. Make sure that email is yours. Further down, make sure the site time zone is where you are. So obviously I'm in the UK, so I've got London, but wherever you are in the world. Only because if you schedule blogs, they won't post at the correct times. If this is still USA, they'll go on USA times. So you do need to make sure that's correct on there. We've got writing, which I don't do anything with. That's just about emails and how it sends emails. Reading, we've got your homepage can display your latest posts, which is the default. Or static page. So I've just got a static page, I've just clicked anyone. If you don't use a builder, you can select the page, you can just create a blog page and call it blog, and then select it as a post page, and automatically all your posts will go to it. If you are using a builder, I always leave that as select, because you can't edit the page. otherwise. So, but Build does allow you to add blog modules and things like that. You've got a lot more customization options there. So you've got discussion. So these are things for comments, so you can turn off comments and all stuff like that on there. Media, so you've got the thumbnail size, medium size, large size of images. Permalinks, these should be on post name, so you can see that. Otherwise, if it was on plain, it would just be my name of my pages would be just like 1, 2, 3, and that's no good for SEO because nobody knows what that is. So it should always be on post name. If you have a website and it's not on post name, speak to me first before changing it, because if you click something different, it should come up at the top. It usually comes up as a warning, maybe when I click save changes, but I've left it on that now. It usually comes up as a warning to say that like some of your pages have got links, or your linking system would go down and all that type of stuff. So if it's not on post name, then just speak to me first. Privacy, everyone's favorite thing. Privacy policies, this is GDPR law, so every website has to have one, or you could end up getting fined. WordPress has its own template, so you can use this page if you've got the page on there, or you can create the page. And what it does is it will give you, I don't know if this is live or not. No, I was going to say it's normally in draft first, so I'll have to publish it. But it also has a policy guide, so it tells you how what each section means and what you should put in each section. So it goes through the actual default template that it has. I can't give you advice on it. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice. If you do want to make sure it is legal, then you would need to check with somebody. Me and Sarah use a company called Coffee Clatch, which it is that what I'm calling it? The name's gone out of my head now. With K. Sarah can put it in the chat because she had typed in. And if you use code WWW, you can get 10% off as well. So they do privacy policies, terms and conditions, all that type of stuff, and obviously they're all nice and legal and good. Divi is there because I use Divi, so we've got different things on there, but depending on what theme you use, that would be different. So that is my basic overview, an hour. But that is literally, like, WordPress seems so intimidating to some people because they're like, where do I even start? But when you use things like these builders, everything is so much easier. And like I said, it's very, very visual. It's really easy to use. And you know, that is what it is, and this is what I teach. So in my website success academy, should we look at the page, Sarah? I sent this page to Sarah last night and she told me it was sparkly and delicious. I just love the word delicious.
It's so delicious. It's so you.
I know, it is very me. This is what I knocked up on Tuesday. So what I do in my academy is it's a 6-month training academy. You can work at your own pace. So you could get a website up by next week if you wanted to, if it was really basic. I don't believe in these people that say, oh, you can have a website in a day, or you can have a website in a week, because it takes a lot more work than that. I done a website the other day in a week, but that's because I had all the content, I had everything there ready. So they'd done all the planning, they'd had all their content, everything was ready. And obviously I'm doing it in between other websites as well. But yeah, we teach you somewhere. It is here somewhere. So we do website planning. So we go more in detail for the planning stuff like we did the other day, because I know that was all condensed. So we go a lot more into that. We go over the website basics, so I help you buy a domain name and hosting and do all the installing bits we've done today. It includes the Divi theme, a lifetime license of the Divi theme. I think it's lifetime. Yeah, because a license I got is lifetime. So you can have a lifetime license to the Divi theme, and you get a little plugin that installs all the plugins that I use. We go through creating the website, so how to use Divi. Like I'll show you the actual course bit now. We'll do sales and landing pages and mailing lists and integration. And we use MailerLite because that's free as well. So the only thing that you'd have to pay for outside of this course would be the domain name and hosting. And domains are about a tenner, £10–15. And you can get hosting from like £3.50 a month. So everything else is included in this course. We do 2 calls a week. So on a Tuesday, we do a support call where you share your screens with me and say, I want to create this, and I just teach you how to create that. Or you ask me questions. In the Video Vault course on the website, I've got all basic videos, but I find that doing the support calls, that's what I do most of the teaching, because everybody's plan is different, everybody's business is different. So you would just come with your plan and say, I want to create this, and I would just show you how to create that. You don't need to know what somebody else wants to create, because that's totally different. But I also find as well, when everyone's on the calls, you can bounce ideas off, and you may have similar businesses, and you can be like, oh yeah, I could put that on my website, and you get lots of ideas and stuff like that. On a Thursday then, we have a dedicated implementation hour. Sounds really posh, but it's just co-working. So I find that it's really good to set time in your diary to actually work on this. So all you need is 2 hours a week. So 1 hour for the support call, 1 hour for the actual getting it done call. So we all work on our websites, including me. And if you want any help, you can shout. So, you know, it's like when you're in school, my daughter learns like this. When she's in school, she's doing her work and she's always putting her hand up asking questions, and she needs someone over her. So that's what that is. It's very similar to that. So you get support whilst you're working on it. You get 6 months access to the support calls and the implementation hour, and then you get 3 months access then, once that's finished, to my Tech Tavern, which is my membership group, where we do lots more other stuff like adding shops, membership sites, courses, SEO, all that type of stuff. The reason I've took it out of this course is because I don't want to confuse people. People get really stressed. Of all these other stuff, when I just want them to get our website up and do the basic stuff. And then you can move on to the other stuff. If I just show you the course. Too many courses on now. Go course rev then. This one. So you can see there's loads of videos on here. We've got checklists, so you know where you are. Planning, so the planning stuff we done, we have got the masterclass, which I'll update with this one, but it's all broken down as well. We've got like adding a user, page and post, those type of things we've already been over. So these first 2 modules are what I do in these masterclasses, but they're a bit more in depth. Plugins, so all the plugins I use, why I use them, how to use them and to set them up. With Divi, we got loads of things like creating a page, putting theme options, customization options, all the different models, how to upload fonts, mobile and tablet versions, creating blog pages, and there's more I'm going to add on. So you get updates as well. So you have lifetime access as long as my website and my business is still going. You will have access to this course and all the updated versions as well. So even after the 6 months, you will still get these videos. But yeah, I think that's about it. And if you can actually buy now because I've made a sales page, but I know, don't worry about actually selling at least. Yeah, so everybody in this group, they will get, if you want to buy the course, you'll get a half-hour onboarding type call with me, so we can see where you are, where you need to be. If anyone wants to chat with me though, to see if this course or working with me in any other way, my membership, creating websites, that type of thing, let me know, and Sarah will book in a chat for you because she knows the link and I never know the link. But yeah, so you can have a chat and see what's the best options for you. But I think that's about it really. If anyone has any questions, just unmute yourself and you can just ask. Don't all rush at once though. Go on, Wendy.
can Sarah book me a half-hour slot with you so that we can chat? Because I've got a website, it's a WordPress, but I'm completely changing what I'm doing now, and I'm not sure if my website is all as it should be. So yeah, I need to look at it really, but I don't know which would be the best thing, whether I just, you know, we have a couple of hours, I pay you for a couple of hours,
Yeah, so I do that as well.
or something like that, and we
Yeah.
just go through it.
Yeah, I do like 1-to-1 hours as well. So you can do that, but you can book in for a chat. What was I was going to say something to you then. Oh, it's gone out of my mind now. When you was talking, I was thinking, right, I need to tell you this, and then it just went out of my mind. But I think for people, oh, that's what I was going to say. For people who, if you did want to start from scratch as well, for people who's got live websites but they want to start again and use Divi and stuff like that, then the course, that's good for you as well. But what we would do is we would create you a test site so you can work on that while your website is live if people want to do that. But if you have got a website, we can do 1-to-1, or you can go in the membership, and we do an hour support call a week in the membership as well for people who have got websites and just want to make changes to them. So yeah, Sarah can send you the link, and then you can book in and we can have a chat to see what's best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Any other questions? See, I went over the other day and I was good today, like. And I literally got in at 5-to-1 because I've been to networking this morning, and then I was like at 12, I was like, oh my god, I gotta leave. So then I was like driving up the dual carriageway, and I was like, oh, let me just grab a burger at McDonald's because I'll have to eat first. And then it was cold. Very disappointed. But I got on time when I was here. So Sarah's put the link for you.
Let me grab that
in the chat.
I'll drop you a message with it, Wendy. Oh, sorry, Lise. I'll drop you into a message, Wendy, so you got it in your inbox.
Lovely. Thank you.
If there isn't, I know I'm away from Wednesday next week. So if there isn't a time before then, just give us an email. It's hello@websitewonderwoman.com, or pop me a message. And I'll try and fit you in anyway.
Yeah, there's no rush for it, because the new text that I need to put on the website I haven't written yet. So there's no rush, but I will need to speak to you.
That's okay. That's totally fine.
And then we can talk about how we're going to, you know, work together. But I want to work with someone like you so that I can do it myself, because at the moment I'm just relying on the person that's built it, and sometimes I have to wait 2-3 weeks, and
I think that's the best thing. So people say about the course, should I learn how to do it myself? But then I feel like you've got full control. Like, there's a lady on the course at the moment, and she's got a mortgage company, and someone else created their website, and they don't really have access to it. They can't change much to it. So she's just started from scratch. So she's learned now. So she knows, even if her company totally changes what they're doing, she can just create another website, because those skills are always with her. As she grows, obviously, like, she can teach her staff how to use the website. You know, she doesn't have to do that. But I find that it's really good to learn as well, because even if you have people doing stuff for you, you know what to tell them to do, and you can check that it's done and stuff like that. I had someone before, she's paying out £300 a month for SEO services, and she booked a 1-to-1 call for me, and she was like, I just want to know what they're doing because I can't see it improving. And we looked, and they'd never ever logged into a website. So they were completely ripping it off. So I showed her the types of things they would do on her website. So she obviously sacked them. And when she hired a new company, she could, not that she wanted to check up what they're doing, but because she'd been burnt before with it, she just wanted to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Well, I hope she went back and asked them for a refund.
I think she did. That was quite a while ago, this was. It was about 2 years ago, but yeah,
my SEO wasn't working when I first got my website, and I'd gone in and done everything. And then I found out that it didn't have a heading 1, and buttons were set up as buttons and not headings, and so nothing was being picked up. It didn't matter what I put in, it wasn't being picked up.
Yeah. And it is certain ways of doing it, and that's what we do in my membership group, which will probably, if you've got a website, we'll have a look at it, but that might be a good idea for you, because we do calls there, and that's like old tech. So Sarah does the mailing list thing, because she knows I hate emails. She answers all those sorts of questions, but we do everything. It's not just websites, it's all tech to run the online business. So I think you was doing the other day when I say about active campaign landing pages, and Sarah loves landing pages and emails, to know, which I hate. That's her job. But yeah, Sarah will send you the link and book a call with me. Like I said, if there's nothing there, just pop us a message and we can fit you in somewhere anyway. So
all right, my love, thank you very
much.
much.
I shall
Thank
speak to you
you.
soon.
See you both soon. Bye.